Oh, did you? There. Are we there? Can you see now? I'm on the phone with you on the thing. There were lots of kids who had come in though. Yeah? Working? Okay. Okay, fine. Hello everyone. I am so sorry there was a little technical glitch that we just faced and now everything's okay. So we're live now. I hope you all are safe and healthy at home. I'm going to be starting the talk now. So, firstly, before actually I start the talk, I want to say that I'm so happy to be doing this because as an ex-staff member of Modern School Jaipur, it is such a welcoming feeling to be doing this talk for all my students. I like to call you all my students because that's what Modern School does. It does give you a great sense of belonging. And yeah, so I hope you all are safe, healthy at home. I do know that times are tough right now, and this lockdown period this quarantine period has in fact given us ample amount of time to introspect about our lives. And there are a lot of home studies that are also happening. So, it's a new way of looking at education, which is great for students and their parents. Today's talk, children, I hope today's talk gives you some perspective on why do we study. You know, we have all these subjects, English, Hindi, maths, many more, but why are we studying them? I remember that during my school days, I must have been in ninth grade at that point. Uh, by then, I knew that, okay, further down, when I pass out school, I want to pursue psychology. And I want to become a psychologist, but I want to pick this subject up in college. Now, I always wondered, okay, at that point, why am I doing maths? Like, why, when I want to pursue an art-oriented subject, am I studying all these theories, these formulas, trigonometry? And I'm sure at some point you all must have also had the same feeling, you know. So this is exactly what we are going to talk about today. Today, we will discuss the use and how useful are these academic subjects in our everyday life, their utilization, their practical relevance. How will they support you and help you in the future? Now, you all will choose professions based on either art, commerce, science, or alternative subjects. But understanding that all these subjects are intermingled, their importance is of great value to us. So I will pick on each subject one by one. And along with that, I will also talk about a few job references. So let's start with English as the first subject. Now, since I'm giving this talk in English, you all do realize that this is one of the importance of the language. But other than that, it's not only our unofficial global language, but it has also become the most important language being used for most of the jobs all over the world. Well, of course, there are multiple uses of English as a discipline, but securing employment in any country, English gives you a better chance of it. Now, looking at the times that we are facing right now due to COVID-19, India will be facing a lot of resettlement. uh, migration from various countries will be taking place. So even supplementary jobs such as CEO, assisting a CEO of a company, or managing a team, or a receptionist job, even even jobs which are handling the front desk of, let's say, your school or any school, or big hospitality companies like Taj, Oberoi's, or other chains. These jobs, um, these are some of the jobs where speaking in English becomes indispensable. Various other avenues open due to English. It connects cultures, societies from different parts of the world, from cultural performances to television content, to exposure to different practices and rituals from an array of people. English language itself can function as a medium of connection and personal growth. I'll give you an example. Let's say securing a job in Eastern countries has become so easy now, purely because of knowing and understanding and speaking and writing English correctly. They hire teachers, interpreters, translators, and mind you, these jobs are really high paying jobs. So, the daily use of this language, also, such as speaking regularly, not only does it improve our communication skills, but it also helps us with better pronunciation of words. So, let's say if you want to become a writer or a journalist, at the moment you have the luxury of going ahead, because you're at home with internet. Go ahead, explore the world of blogs, read other people's blogs, educate yourself, because all of us have a different style of writing. Since you all are also at home, internet being there, make use of it. Take this time to gain knowledge as much as you can, because having a good command on this language, not only will it give you confidence, but it will also bring you to light if you're standing in a group of people. I'll give you a very personal example right now. When I was younger, my mother would always tell me, read the dictionary, so you learn all these new words. When I look at your this time right now that you children have with you, you have internet, which is such a powerful tool. There are games and apps where you can find new words. There is the new form of reading the dictionary. Scrabble can be so much fun. You can sit at home and play with your own classmates. So these are very, very efficient tools in life. Now that I've spoken about English as a language, I want to dwell just a little on how English as literature has impacted or does impact all of us. In school, we read all these stories in English literature. What is the importance of this? It has a big positive impact on showing us as a society, all of us as students, how to be sensitive, how to interact with our surroundings. You have great works here by Shakespeare. You've got Wordsworth. You've got Charles Dickens. Now their work resonates values of humanity. You've got empathy. They talk about equality. They speak about love. And now these are the values, especially in present times, that are of absolute necessity. I'm going to quickly jump on to Hindi as a subject now. I think you all have Hindi till 10th, if I'm not wrong. Um, um, I used to always wonder, why am I studying Hindi? Because till 7th standard, I know how to read and how to write basic Hindi. And now at this age, I've come to an understanding that Hindi not only being a mother tongue, but it also gives us a sense of belonging to this country. You know, apart from that, a lot of our government offices till date, release notifications in Hindi. Now, let's suppose tomorrow you crack the IS exams, and your first posting is based out of a Hindi speaking village. Okay, the importance of writing formal Hindi letters becomes a vital skill. And this letter writing is what your school is teaching you right now. So it does have importance. Then you've got a lot of Hindi speaking companies. Now imagine, I'll give you this example. It happened to a friend of mine, very dear friend. She went for an interview, and the CEO and the director of that company started to talk to her in Hindi. Now imagine at this point, when you've gone for an interview, it is so impolite if you reply back in English. So having a command on this language is what your school presently is prepping you for. You know, other than that, Hindi is not just a language which is ki India mein hi hai. No, it is not that. There are companies, international companies like Google, Facebook. They offer their services in Hindi in India. So this clearly means that Hindi's even reached an international level. Okay, I'm getting a lot of questions, or I'm getting a lot of hi hellos here. Okay, I hope you all are enjoying the talk. I'm going to move on to history as a subject. Now, history, I was not very fond of history, but I do realize now the importance, and I'm going to give you ample examples of it. It not only brings cross-cultural awareness, but at the same time, history also gives us knowledge about the past. It gives us reasoning, for what is happening in the future. And that is how we make an estimate about, okay, the future is going to be a certain way. Now, when you look at career options concerning history as a subject, you've got archaeologists who play a big role in understanding how history has benefited them. Let's say if somebody is good in art, okay, do you know what restoring art is, students? Do you know restoration? I'll give you a small, I'll talk about restoration for a bit. So basically, Rajasthan, as we all live in, is beautiful state that we are in. It is we are surrounded by forts all around us, right? Now, you in Jaipur itself, you've got Amer and Nahargarh. Now, what happens here is, if you ever go visit these forts, you will see, this is why your school takes you out, by the way, for school expeditions to go to such historic places. This example really resonates with this, the example that I'm going to give. What happens is that when you go on these school trips and you go to a historic place like this, you will see in these old forts, there are the walls have paintings on them. Now, in earlier days, these paintings were made out of, haldi used to be used as yellow pigment. Beetroot was used as the red pigment for these colors. Now, today, over the years, These walls have, they need repair, they need recoloring. An artist not only needs to know how to do the artwork, but also needs to understand chemicals, also needs to understand how chemicals will affect the wall, how it can be repaired, and things like this. So here you can see how art oriented subject is intermixed with science only for a person to perform his job. I'll give you another example. Something like in the hospitality business, many of you would want to go there. Now, in hospitality, knowing, you must be wondering, how is hospitality connected to history? Knowing uh, the history of where you are situated helps you have better content with the tourist. You know, some of you must be interested in economics. Now, if you're a pure economist, knowing how the war has affected you, knowing how it's impacted the economy of the country, what is economic depression, how it influenced the society. After a few months, when this COVID-19 passes by, people will look back at things and be like, okay, so how has this impacted India? They will look back and they will say, okay, because of COVID-19, yes, the fuel prices have gone up, or they haven't. Why? So you see how history is not a subject in its own, it's affecting other subjects also. So let's say if tomorrow you want to be a good financial analyst or an advisor, you will be looking back at all these subjects, and you will understand, yes, history, math, economics, they all connect together. You know, Another interesting subject used to be geography. Now, as you all must be knowing, geography as a subject, we can't really mug it up. We can't really mug it up. It needs understanding. It not only increases your general knowledge about your mountains, your plateaus, your rivers, your forest, agriculture, but it gives you an insight about your surroundings, and it associates that with the present situation. There are many wise people, they say, and I'm going to repeat this today for you all: to be aware of your surroundings is the first sign of intelligence. A lot of you, and I'm sure parents would want their children to be engineers. I hear that a lot with children. They want to be engineers, they want to make something. I'll tell you what, being a civil engineer, if you don't understand the context of geography in your life, it becomes very difficult. A small example of this is, if you're a civil engineer, you must understand what is the rain pattern in that particular area where you're working. Now, what this will do is it will enable you to make your mega level constructions, your bridges, uh, etc., more efficiently. Now, let's say you're a doctor. Okay, now you're wondering, how is being a doctor connected to geography? Knowing that in a particular season, a particular disease or an allergy comes up, that, knowing how the geography around you as a doctor is affecting your patients, this will give you a better understanding of their problem. Okay, now we've spoken a lot about geography. I'm going to, okay, I just got this. My wants to be a chef. I've just read this from Nidhi Agarwal, who says that my son wants to be a chef and an artist and has a rough business plan. Now, see, this is amazing, because as a parent, what you've done is you've indulged in the fact that your child is not just focused on, okay, I want to cook and I want to be a chef, so I should only think about food. No, he's come up with a rough business plan, which is great. Try and streamline it, meet people of the same with the same passion, make him meet some chefs, get inspired by things. Of course, there's ample amount of biographies, and there are ample amount of space on the internet that you can learn from. So Nidhi, I think you should yeah, encourage him definitely. 9 is not a young age. Let me tell you that there are chefs and there are these amazing kids who are doing amazing work. Okay, so I'm going to move on to my talk. I'm going to keep taking questions in the middle though. Now about sociology, we all know that man is a social animal. We interact every day with almost 10 people a day. I mean, definitely not right now, but in our everyday life, we would. Certain large international businesses also completely depend on your social behavior. Especially in our country, if you look at the marketing industry, if you look at advertising, you look at your movie industry. Okay, now what happens is that they rely completely on what the society is reacting towards. Do you remember this time, children? Do you remember this time when you would go to a restaurant and order pizzas and order Coke? And now I see this trend change completely. I see students and children going out and ordering salads. Most of them are also counting the calories. The fact that, the society is changing around us, this this speaks volumes. And such day-to-day life examples can totally validate why we all need to study a subject like sociology at in our school. Why is our school teaching us this subject? Because it validates with all these day-to-day examples around you. It gives you a better understanding of your own society changing, why and how. One of my favorite subjects, of course, being psychology. I'm going to come to this now. I will start by giving a small example, and trust me, the parents right now on this talk would understand this, and so will the children completely get this example. You want to go out, you want to meet your friends. You decide, okay, one day I want to have a night spend I want to have a night stay at my friend's house. Now let's say you come back, you tell your parents, your father says, okay, go. And your mother will suddenly turn around and say, no, but I don't want you to go. Now, this is a point where this is a very basic example, and I'm sure all of you can relate to. Here, the understanding of conflict is very important. There are theories that your school, that your teachers of psychology will teach you. Now, what these theories does, okay, is that it gives a perspective on how to deal with these conflict situations. These theories that you learn in school will give you um, a better understanding of yourself, your reaction, and also of the other people. Okay. Now, when I say psychology, when I talk about conflict, I also say this keeping your professional life in mind. You will never have, you might have one boss who says, yes, go ahead, do this project, while you might have another boss saying, you know, um, uh, no, I don't want this project to go ahead. So when I talk about psychology, conflict is always there, and your school teaches you to within the theories in those psychology books, that teaches you how to deal with these things. Now somebody is asking me to guide us for options pertaining to psychology as career options and various courses. Okay. um okay, I will definitely get on with the question. I'm just going to give this one more point. Since I'm talking about subjects and intermingling um, subjects, I used to always wonder in ninth standard, 10th, and my 9th, 10th standard students here will totally understand this point. You are beginning to study statistics, okay, now which is a part of your math curriculum. Now, what happens in stats? You learn techniques like documenting your findings, data collection, sampling. Now, all these techniques are taught in math, and this is what helps prove in psychology how a behavior pattern is happening. Now, when you go on later on in your life, and this is, I'm also answering the question pertaining to psychology right now, you've got jobs of counseling. There are different kind of counselors. There are school counselors, there are sports psychologists, there are if you're fond of, let's say, a sport in your younger days, but you further on go ahead and read on injuries that happen in sport. So rehabilitation is another career option, where you definitely need a lot. It's as a, what is this, as a career option is there. So you can delve into something like this: rehabilitation for injured players, for players who are recouping out of a trauma. There are, these are another, this is one set of career options for psychology. Another side to look at it is something like HR, you know, HR, administrative work. This is another area where psychology helps, because this is exactly what you're doing. You're collecting data, you're documenting it. There's a lot of analyzing happening. There's a lot of interview skills that come into play. Lastly, a profession like that of a lawyer, okay, is another place where conflict resolution, data collection, people management skills become paramount importance. So just studying psychology in school or college, or having interest in this, it does not leave you in a box where you only will become a psychologist. No, it will help you in any other profession that you also take place, like I've just given an example, that of a lawyer. I'm going to quickly jump on to another subject now, which is that of science. Okay, so science teaches us so much in our life. Our everyday approach also, it helps us develop this approach into a scientific approach. Now, you all must be having about what, 12 or more subjects in your curriculum that you're studying right now. Now, studying each of those subjects every single day is not possible, right? It's impossible to do that. But like science itself will have chemistry, biophysics. Dividing your time, prioritizing what to study when, how much time to give one chapter. These are important, very important techniques that science itself is teaching you. So, time management is not just a big part of your school life. Students, you should ask your parents also how they deal with time management. personal life, professional life, they have to divide. um, Science, basically what it does, it trains your mind to juggle multiple things, multiple projects. Then there is, right inside, right with science, there is chemistry. Okay, now chemistry, everybody thinks, when I talk to students, they all think, and parents, they all think chemistry is all about chemicals and chemical compounds and their equations, which is not true. Chemistry, the way we should look at this subject, is all about curiosity. Okay, so why is it that you're taking a crocin when you have fever and not a cetirizine? uh, these days everybody is talking about homemade soaps and sanitizers. Okay, can we make it at our house? Can we make it ourselves? Why are we applying sunscreen when we go out in the sun? Because we don't want our skin to get dark. How does it prevent us from UV rays? So basically what chemistry is doing, it's arousing questions. It is making you think further, the whys, the what, the how. In these are three words that help develop a curious mind. Now, how is this of any use in our life? When you grow up, when you grow older, you will realize that when you start working in companies, this curious mind practice about asking questions, why am I doing this project? Why should I not look at this project from another perspective? How will this project benefit me? These questions is what uh, something like science is getting us, something like chemistry is uh, evoking in us. So I'll tell you something. When your teachers in your class, they ask you, raise your hands if you don't understand anything. This is such a good practice that your school is instilling in you, because when the teacher finishes teaching what she's teaching, raise your hands and ask her questions, ask your doubts. This is what your school is training you for, a curious mind to be in play. Okay, I'm going to look at some of these questions because I'm getting a lot of. Okay, Miss Kavita Sharma is asking me for some career selection options. So, Kavita ji, as I'm talking about different subjects, I'm also talking to you about the various colorful career options that you can have. I will, and I'm also talking about how these subjects are in our day-to-day life, how they're affecting us. So I will, if you have something specific in mind, let me know. So in today's time, in this time of this lockdown that we are having, uh, DIYs, a lot of restoring of things, a lot of recycling. Now, this is your chance as students, as involve your parents in this. Even if it's something as menial as removing rust from an object, use baking soda, use vinegar. These are examples where you can bond with your family, and science. These are examples of how science is there in your everyday life. So apart from this, sorry, I'm getting all these questions, I'm like stopping between the talk also. But okay, somebody's asked me here, what is the right age for my child to to the correct age for my child for selection of a career? Okay, I would like to state that children have a fickle mind. Okay, they jump from one thing to another thing because at one time something gives them happiness, at another time something else would give them happiness. But for us as parents to find where their passion lies, in what, you know, even like for me, waking up at 5 in the morning to go practice golf was not कि अरे यार सुबह उठना ही है जाना ही है. I never had these thoughts. I would be up and about and I would go and do it. These things, these examples show where your child is, what is he passionate about. Okay, once you know that, the correct age, I would say, is to start communicating with your child around puberty, around their 15 years, 14 years old child. What do they see themselves in? As parents, our expectations might be of making them a doctor or lawyer or engineer, but maybe your child wants to be a musician and they are earning a lot today. So it is not fair for us to say that, you know, yeah, they can't, that's not a stream to go for. So talk to your child around the age of 14, 15, 16, see where their passion lies, what they want to, how they want to progress with it, how serious are they for it. Is it just a summer hobby, or are they actually serious about something? So yes, I think it was Komal Narang who asked me that question. So I hope I've answered that for you satisfactorily. One of the last subjects now that I want to talk to you guys about is physical education. You know, um, before this, I'm going to say to all my students, okay, mind activation is a very very important concept. It is something that is come of grave importance in these COVID-19 time. But mind activation drills for student has been something that I have personally been very attached to. I would request you all to incorporate this in your everyday life. And what I mean by mind activation drills is sticking to a routine. This is number one priority. So let's say you wake up at 7 a.m. for school. Of course, this is a more relaxed time frame. So try and get up at 8, 8:30, but have that set time. 8 means 8 o'clock every single day. Having a routine brings a lot of structure, especially during this lockdown period. Mental structure is very important. Aside from that, eat healthy. Don't sleep too much, don't sleep too less. Keep your mind activated. Take advantage of your apps on the phone, like your mind games, your you know you've got mind test, you've got spot the difference, find the letter. You are never at a younger age for all these games. I still give these apps out to my students as children because it keeps your mind fresh and activated. Solve riddles. So, why have I spoken about mind activation? Is because until and unless your mind is fresh and ready, your that is when your body and sorry our mind is only fresh and ready to learn if our body is activated. So sitting on the couch and watching TV is not really a mind activation technique. I request you all to go out, exercise your body. So physical education, when your school has physical education as a subject, It is of grave importance. Take time out to learn yoga, use your stairs in your house, ample YouTube exercise videos are also available. Keep your body and mind fresh and activated. Now, having spoken about all these subjects, and I'm going to take on some questions after this, I would like to conclude this talk by saying that I can understand how education gets confusing, and how, in your student life, you will face questions about why this subject, why am I doing this? And getting good marks and good grades is not your education cycle. you know I request you all to go apart from your curriculum, apart from your academic subjects. Parents should let children explore the world of alternative subjects, even such as photography. You've got dance. I see some of the schools put up dance videos. And yes, it is difficult. Those steps and those moves aren't easy. Music, you've got your DIY of crafts, you've got cooking, as we just spoke to, like, one of the parents just had a quick cooking question. Let your child indulge in these things so that they find, when they reach a certain age, they will find uh, perspective in what they are doing and what subjects to carry on forward. Is gaming on the computer good? Somebody's asked me this question. Yes. Gaming on the computer is good, but not all day. Gaming on the computer does activate a lot of activity in your mind, in your brain gets activated. There's a major flow of information that keeps happening. The movement, your hand-eye coordination, that improves. Your eye coordination with what you're thinking in your mind, your muscles reacting, all of that improve. But I don't mean to say that, yes, sit on the laptop for 6 hours and game. No, that sort of gaming, of course. So too much of something, maybe not. Yeah, so coming back to my talk, and I'm going to be finishing this. Having a skill set does not mean that one has to be in that particular profession. During lockdown period, of course, I indulge children in going on a creative path as well as your academic subjects, because having a creative mind bent will ultimately help you no matter what profession you decide to take on. So let's say if you want to be an architect, pay attention to your geometry classes, students. Being an architect doesn't just mean drawing lines. If you want to be an interior designer, have a mind bent of doing a lot of research. Learn how to make presentations. You don't need a classroom to learn how to make presentation. You can be at your own house in front of the laptop. YouTube itself has got some amazing videos there. You've got your mood boards. Understand what mood boards are, how interior designing can help you with can how these small things can help you in furthering your knowledge about interior designing. You might not be getting a professional course at this age, but regardless, at least your mind is going to have that creative bent. So every subject around you is relevant. Once you start relating subjects to your surrounding, your ecosystem, your dreams, and your desires, it becomes more interesting to study them, which is our main aim. We want to make education fun. We want to make studying fun. We want you to go to your classrooms or open your laptop and have classroom studies and make it have fun. Look forward for it. I'm going to give you all a small task. I see a lot of questions here saying that, my son wants to be a cricketer. One of the students also mentioned something about cricket. I'm going to give a small example here. If your dream is to be a cricketer, okay, sit down today, uh, apply all the subjects that I've spoken about today. So, research the past of the sport. How did the sport come into being? Do you know about it? You know, what is there physics involved in the sport? I think there is. Because of the movement of the human body, there's certain physics involved. You are not too young to read on these things. You might not understand them when you read them, but never mind, make that effort. Understand, pick your favorite player. Is it Virat Kohli? What is his psychology when he goes to play on the field? What kind of weather conditions will impact cricket as a sport? If you're playing, let's say in Jaipur right now, it's raining, and it's not the season for rain. So how do you think weather impacts? What are the statistics of your favorite player? How many 50s have they got in their? How many hundreds have they got in their life? So I want you all, no matter what your dream is, no matter what profession you want to go into, apply all the subjects around you, and make a comprehensive approach. What do you like in this profession? This is the most important part that subjects teach you. They give you options to go in different areas and fields. People might be confused between being a lawyer or a banker. Go ahead, make do's and don'ts. Make a list of how different academic subjects have affected you. This lockdown period is the best thing that can happen to you guys. Introspect your potential, uh, your capabilities. Anything that you want to do is possible. It can happen only if you make that effort to happen. I always tell parents, and I'm going to stick to this today, your children have dreams. What your role as parents is to give them direction into how to make that dream happen. It is not always about getting money or financially being stable. It is of big importance, but happiness as to what they're doing in their life is more important. you know I see, I'm gonna actually finish this talk. I But I'm gonna say this last thing. I see parents come to me and say, yeah, but there's no financial uh, uh, stability in what my child wants to do. Regardless, give your child that happiness to go and explore that field. You don't want him burnt out at the age of 35 saying that, no, I can't do this job anymore because I'm not enjoying it. So let's bring up children this way. And one Okay, and I've got another question here that I'll like to take before leaving. One more thing. Okay, this person's child wants to be an artist. Okay, they are saying they want the child wants to be an artist. There are many competitions in schools and institutions. Uh, but what is the correct way to choose them? Moreover, if my child has lack of confidence, okay, lack of confidence is something that when you have practice, that lack of confidence takes a sideline. So when I say practice, I don't mean that, take the child to all these competitions and get them oriented with how the competition feels. No. When I say practice, it means, oh, some guests have come. Can you draw something for the guest? You know, something like that, something on the spot. So parents can also be a little creative about, oh, I want to send a letter to my grandmother. Can you make a card for her? She loves how you draw. Saying things with a positive, in a positive way to your child will get him or her to up his or her confidence. Another thing is, yes, get proper training. So if there's proper training involved, there are different techniques to art. There are different ways of how an artist would think about a certain painting. um get your child to look at these things. Get your child on the internet to go read about different artists, their lives. Where is the biggest art scene? What is the Met? What is the MoMA museum? you know Train your child to train their mind to be in that particular direction that they want to do, and lack of confidence will shell out. And yes, indulge them in competitions at school are such a integral part of a child's mental health. So yes, it's a good thing. I am going to finish the talk now, and I hope you all have enjoyed. Thank you all for all these wonderful questions that you've sent, and wishes that I'm reading out. I hope you all have enjoyed the talk, and I hope it's motivating. All I want students to do is have a dream and go ahead and build on it and be happy. Okay, take care. Bye.